So today we're going to continue looking at converting between fractions, decimals and percentages, but this time we are not going to be using a calculator. So these are non-calculator examples. So let's start from converting percentages to decimals. So this will have been something we've seen before when we're using a calculator. So if we have 66%, we know we can write it as a fraction over 100 because all percentages are out of 100, and this line in the fraction means divide. So 66 over 100, we can calculate 66 divided by 100. That's what this fraction actually means. And we can do this without a calculator because we know that when we divide by 100, we are moving all figures 2 places to the right. So if we've got 66, your tens and your units, 2 places to the right, so your units will become your 100ths and your tens will become your tenths. Moving 2 places to the right to get 0.66. Let's look at some more examples. So change each percentage to a decimal. So first one, 87%. This means 87 out of 100, so to change it into a decimal, we're just going to divide it by 100. So 87 divided by 100 to give us 0.87. Next one, 12%. So to change our percentage to a decimal, we must divide by 100, 2 places to the right to give us 0.12. So if you could copy those examples down, and once you've done that, if you pause the video here and try these ones on your own. Okay, hopefully you've tried them, and we'll go over the answer. So 24% divided by 100 to get 0.24, and then 4%, be careful with this one, we're still moving them 2 places to the right by dividing by 100 to get 0.04. So well done if you got both of them right. And a task for you now, you have to match each percentage to its decimal equivalent. And I've written out the decimal equivalents here because hopefully you might be able to spot them and match them up. If you don't need them as a help, just go ahead and divide each of these by 100 to find the decimal equivalent to each percentage. So pause here and give them a go. Okay, let's go over the answers. Hopefully you've unpaused now. So 40% as decimal, divide it by 100 to get 0.4. Okay, be very careful with this one because if we were to divide 40 by 100, okay, divided by 100, you might write down 0.40, but remember that that is exactly the same as 0.4, okay? So this does not mean 4%, it means 40%. Okay, next one, 87% as decimal, 0.87, 24%, 0.24, 16%, 0.16, 73%, 0.73, and last one, we have a decimal percentage, 17.5%. We're still going to divide that by 100 to get 0.175. So excellent work if you got all of them correct. So we have looked at changing a percentage to a decimal. We're now going to convert a percentage to a fraction. So similar to the very first example we looked at, if we have a percentage, we know that all percentages are out of 100, so we need to write that as a fraction over 100. Once we've got to this point, okay, we have a fraction and we're just going to use our skills of simplifying a fraction. So 64 and 100, what can we divide both of them by? So we need to make sure we're fully simplifying the fraction. 64 and 100, how do we simplify that? Well, they're both even, and if they're both even, we can always divide by 2. So let's divide top and bottom by 2 to get 32 over 50. Let's check it again, see if we can simplify it any further. Still both even, so let's divide it by 2 again to get 16 over 25. So the steps we've taken here is we have divided top and bottom by 2, and then we said it's not fully simplified yet, so we're going to divide it by 2 again. But if you've looked at 64 and 100 and you've thought, well, I know that I can divide them by a bigger number than 2, you can reduce your number of steps by doing that, and you could have divided by 4 to go straight to 16 over 25. Okay, let's look at some more examples. Okay, so change each percentage to a fraction. So first one, 37%, we're going to start by writing it as a fraction over 100. And then we're going to look at our fraction and decide, can we simplify that any further? And the answer is no, we cannot. So our final answer is 37 over 100. Next one, 55 over 100. Just write it straight as a fraction over 100. Let's look at it and decide, can we simplify this fraction? And we can indeed by dividing top and bottom by 5. So here we've divided the top by 5, and whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. Okay, make sure you've got these examples copied down, please, and remember, for all of these we are not using a calculator. And once you've got that, you can pause here and give these a go. Change each percentage to a fraction. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused, and let's go for the answers. So first one, we're going to write 48 over 100 to start off our fraction, and we're going to decide if we can simplify this. So 48 and 100, we can indeed divide them both by 2 first to get 24 over 50, and we can take it one step further to divide it by 2 again. So again, we have divided top and bottom by 2 to get to 50, and then we've decided it's not fully simplified, so we're going to divide it again. Or you could have looked at 48 over 100 and seen that they can both be divided by 4, and you could have done one step and divided it straight by 4. Whatever step you take, that is absolutely fine. Okay, let's look at another example. 23 over 100, 23% is just written as 23 over 100, and we cannot simplify that any further, so we're just going to leave it as it is. So well done if you got both of those correct. Okay, another task for you. Can you please match the percentages to its fraction equivalent? Again, if you need the fractions as a little help, you can see them at the side, but if you just want to do it without it, just focus on the percentages. And we're making sure that once we've written it as a fraction over 100, we are fully simplifying our answers. So pause here and give them a go. Okay, let's go over the answers. So first one, 30%. We're going to write it as, let's see. So we're going to write it as a fraction. First, 30 over 100. And then we're going to simplify it, top and bottom, dividing by 10 to get our answer of 3 over 10. Next one, 27%. Write it as a fraction straight over 100. We cannot simplify that any further, so that's our final answer. Next one, 60%. We're going to write it as a fraction over 100. And then we are going to divide top and bottom by, let's divide it by 2 first. Let's divide it by 10 first to get 6 over 10. So divide the top and bottom by 10. And once you've done that, you can divide top and bottom by 2 because they're both even numbers, and you should have got 3 over 5 for that one, fully simplified. If you are getting these answers at the side, okay, really well done, because you're taking the correct steps to start with, but you need to work on fully simplifying your answers. So next one, 15%, 15 over 100, and you can simplify that down to 3 over 20 by dividing top and bottom by 5. And then we have 36 over 100, and that should simplify down to 9 over 25. And then last one, 85 over 100, dividing top and bottom by 5 to give you 17 over 20. So again, excellent work if you got all of those correct. And again, if you're getting the first steps, that is really well done, but you need to be thinking about fully simplifying your answers. Okay, so far we have looked at changing percentages into both decimals and fractions. Okay, so we're sort of applying the previous skills when we were doing the questions using a calculator, but that time we were not using a calculator, so we had to really think about our skills of simplifying fractions. This time we're going to be going from fractions to percentages. Okay, so what I've kept mentioning previously is that all percentages are out of 100. Okay, so in order for us to change a fraction into a percentage, we need to change this bottom number of our fraction to 100. Okay, and to do that, our first example, we have 1 over 10. And to change a 10 to 100, we need to times that by 10. So 10 times 10 gives you 100. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So we've changed it. 10 times 10 gives you 100. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do at the top to give us 10 over 100. And there we can clearly see that our fraction is 10%. Because we've got a number over 100, we can use that to help us write our percentage. Let's look at a second example. So as I said previously, it'd be really good again if you could copy these examples down as we go, and this box here is really important. All percentages are out of 100, so we need to convert fractions to have 100 on the bottom. So let's look at another example. So change 3 over 20 to a percentage. So we're going to start with 3 over 20, and then we're going to think about, well, how do we change this 20 to become 100? What do we need to times 20 by to get 100? We'll need to times it by 5, and whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 20 times 5 gives us 100, what we're after, so then 3 times 5 gives us 15. And then we can see that our percentage is 15%. As long as you have 100 on the bottom of your fraction, use the top number and that will be your percentage. And remember your percent sign. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples. So again, remember all percentages are out of 100 and we need to convert fractions to have 100 on the bottom. So first one, 12 over 25. What do we need to times 25 by to make it into 100? We're sort of thinking how many 25s are in 100? Well, there are 4, so we need to multiply top and bottom by 4. So multiply 25 by 4 to get 100 is exactly what we're after. And then 12 times 4 gives us 48. So then we can just read off from our fraction that that is equal to 48%. And next one, 43 over 50 into a percentage. We need to change that 50 to become 100 by times and by 2. So whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. So 50 times 2 gives us 100. 43 times 2 will give us 86. And then we can read off our fraction to say that that is 86%. Okay, if you make sure you've got all of those examples copied down, especially these arrows telling us what we're multiplying top and bottom by, they're really helpful, especially keeping yourself right when you're working through questions. Okay, so your turn now. If you pause the video here and convert each fraction to a percentage. Pause now and give these questions a go. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused and we'll go through the answers. So first one, 80 over 50 times top and bottom by 2 to get 16 over 100, which gives us 16%. Next one, 18 over 20, we need to times top and bottom by 5 to give us 90 over 100, to give us 90%. Next one, 80 over 10, well, we need to times 10 by 10 to give us a 100. So we need to times 8 by 10 as well to give us 80 over 100, so your answer should be 80%. D, 14 over 25, well, we need to times 25 by 4, so we need to times 14 by 4. Give us 56 over 100, so your answer should be 56%. And then for E, again we're at 50%, so we need to times that by 2. And then you need to times your 37 by 2 as well to give you 74 over 100, to give us 74%. And for F, 3 over 20, times in top and bottom by 5, to give us 15 over 100, which is 15%. G 2 over 5 times in top and bottom by 20 to give us, well, if we times top and bottom by 20, you would get 40 over 100 to give us 40%. Or you can do it in a couple of steps, like this example here is done. Times the 5 by 2, times the 2 by 2, and then it's a nice straightforward times it by 10. I would have times that straight by 20. Whatever way you've done it is perfectly fine. And then let's times top and bottom by 20 again to get 60 over 100 to give us 60%. So those are really quite tricky, so excellent work if you got all of those correct.